Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to the webinar for OCS Ambassadors. Congratulations on the position. We're excited to have you here. I'm Julie Lucas.
I'm Katie Rose Brosnan. We're going to hang out for a minute or two more just in case any people needed a couple more minutes to get set up, and then we'll jump in. Right now, all of your microphones are muted so that we don't have any background noise going on. If you're in a coffee shop or whatever, we will at one point in the broadcast unmute everyone so you can introduce yourself, say hi, maybe later do a little bit of brainstorming. But for right now, sit tight and we'll be kicking off in a couple minutes.
Thanks.
All right, that's almost exactly 2 minutes. We got a little excited, but again, my name's Katie Rose Brosnan. We're going to run this training. Our goal is to have you happy and on your way in 30 minutes, just so that we can be mindful of everyone's time. We're recording this for those who were working an internship or couldn't make it. There are a couple of you who are camping in the wilderness right now, so we will make sure that you can watch this later. For those of you who are joining us live, if you really want to go back and watch, you are free to do so, but otherwise we will have this up in a couple days. Again, unless you're talking, please try to keep your microphones muted. We think we've got that all controlled on our end, but just to be sure. One thing that is on here, this says 45 minutes. We're, again, aiming for 30, though we will obviously save time for questions and all that sort of stuff. So if those of you who need to get out of here can do that fast, and we'll get this going. So this is actually about to be the first moment where we actually will unmute you all and have you go and say a few things about yourselves, about the program that you did. We will, all right, you are hopefully now all getting unmuted. And so if you all want to say the program you did, the term that you were on, and why you're excited to be a campus ambassador, we can have you all go, or we can sort of go in order. So from our perspective, Carly, do you want to say hey?
Hey.
Hi, Carly.
Hello. My name is Carly Fitzgerald. I'm a rising senior at St. Olaf College. I went on the ACM London and Florence trip. I did the London first portion, so I did London for 7 weeks and then Florence for 7 weeks. It was arts and context. Which was really interesting because I'm a psychology and political science student, so it was very off the beaten path for me, but I had lots of fun, and I'm very excited to get more people at St. Olaf interested in doing ACM programs.
Great. Awesome, thank you. Gabby? Oh, sorry, Carly, I cut you off. Anything else?
Hi.
Because?
Nope, you're good.
All right, sounds good. We're muting you again. So, Gabby.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. My name is Gabby. I go to Emory University. I did ACM Costa Rica this past spring.
Great.
So I just got back. I'm over culture shock of being back in the States, but everything's good. I was doing psychology research. I'm a neuroscience major at Emory. And then, of course, like speaking Spanish, I'm going to be living in our Spanish house on campus for my first year. I'm really excited about this, mostly because Murray's not an official ACM school. We're kind of like an affiliate. So this year was like the first semester in, I think, years. We actually had like 2 Emory students on ACM. Really exciting. So I'm hoping we can kind of like keep the excitement going on campus for ACM, because I think it really fits well with what the students at Emory like to do, which is research. And I had a really good experience.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And we are scheduling a call with your off-campus study directors to talk more about that. So we are right on that same with you, which is awesome.
Thanks, Gabby.
Thanks, Gabby.
Cool.
Guillermo, our first attendee. Are you still hanging out? And if not, that is totally fine. Sometimes if your mic isn't set up, that's fine. But Guillermo, I can talk for him, did the Chicago program, which is also the program that I did when I was a student. And so we might be reaching back out later. No worries if your mic is not working. Hannah, you want to say hi?
Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm a rising senior at Cornell College, and I did the ACM Jordan program.
Great.
Which was a ton of fun, and I'm really excited to try and get more students at Cornell interested in doing some of the longer stay abroad programs, since because of our unique schedule, most people, if they do go abroad, only go abroad for a month or so.
Yeah, do you mind telling everybody what the schedule is, just so that they're aware of sort of what you're working with?
Yeah, so Cornell runs on a 1 course at a time schedule, or the block plan. We take 1 class and 1 class only for 3.5 weeks. And at the end, we're done with the class, done with it for the semester, which allows a lot of freedom in terms of like being able to take an entire class and go to Italy, France, Spain, India, somewhere in Latin America for a month. But because of that, the longer, more semester programs aren't nearly as prevalent. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Madeline, are you hanging out?
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah. My name is Maddie. I go to Carleton College. I'll be a senior. I went on the Arts and Context program as well, but I did Florence first.
Okay.
And I only did the Florence part actually because we have a different schedule as well. We have 10-week terms. So having the first 10 weeks be one of these programs was a really great opportunity. So that was part of why I wanted to kind of spread the word about this program at my school, because it does give you the opportunity to do a non-Carleton program for 10 weeks. And I think there was a lot of value for me in doing this program that was with students from different schools. And it allows you to go abroad in the winter. And winter in Minnesota is a hard time. So
that is critical and excellent planning on your part, Maddie. Well done.
Thanks, Maddie. All right. Nikki, are you with us?
Did you say Nikki?
Yes.
Hi. Okay. Sorry.
No, you're all.
I caught the last part of that. Yeah, I'm Nikki. I'm a rising senior at St. Olaf College, and I did the Newberry seminar in the fall last year, and I absolutely loved it so much, and it was a really great time to be in Chicago, and I am really excited to be an ambassador because a lot of students have had really great experiences with ACM at St. Olaf, so I think there'll be a lot of good energy to build off of.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, Savannah.
Hey everyone, my name is Savannah. I am originally from Boston, but I'm going to be a rising senior at Kalamazoo College. I did the Chicago program this past fall. I did the social justice seminar track. And this was the first year that Kalamazoo College partnered with ACM through the Chicago program. So I really enjoyed my time there. I love the experiential education piece of it. And so I think it'd be cool for other students to experience that as well.
Thanks, Savannah.
Thanks, Savannah. Also, hi again. How are you?
Oh, hi. Who's that?
Katie Rose. Just as
Oh, hey, Katie Rose.
Hi.
Hey.
Our ACM office shares space with the Chicago program, and so occasionally we get to hop in and join classes, which is always fun. So good to see you again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Savannah.
Thanks, Savannah.
All right, Eula.
All right, bring it home, Eula.
Am I the last person?
You
Yes.
are the last person.
Well, hi everyone. My name is Yula, and I'm a rising senior at Lake Forest College. I did the ACM Costa Rica program in the spring. I was with Gabby, and I'm a double major in environmental studies and Spanish. And I decided to be an ambassador just so I could like help out the international students that may be applying to like ACM programs and stuff like that.
That is wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
So aside from, having a little participation in here, part of the other reason that we really wanted you all to introduce yourselves to each other is that this year especially we are trying to make this cohort more interactive so that if you have a question on your campus about the Newberry program that you're like, all right, well, even though I didn't do that, I can reach out, I can connect with people, even if they're not on my campus, who did. And so in addition to, having resources here in myself and Julie that you can ask questions to also see each other as really great resources and sources of knowledge for students who are interested in going on these programs. So thank you all. And then as more students watch this and all that, we have an intro activity that is one of your assignments that involves like sharing a little bit about yourselves to put on our website. And so then once those are all posted, you'll be able to go and look and see what other ambassadors are available for you throughout the year.
Yes. All right, so we wanted to introduce you to the Google site. So this is a site that we created that has a lot of important resources, any questions you might have, different projects assignments, and information about the ACM colleges. And so it's a mix of required activities and then optional activities. And the three main areas are communications, outreach and recruiting, and ongoing projects.
So this is basically going to be your absolute home base. And after this webinar is over, we will be emailing you guys with this link and links to your timesheets and things like this. But if you ever have a question, we've tried to throw a lot of resources and explanation up on this site. So as you're going through the year.
Mm-hmm. So we'll just go through this really quickly and then you'll have time to poke around on your own. So Katie Rose and I are here. And then Marley and Jen are some of our colleagues who also might be reaching out to you throughout the semester about different projects. And we're going to go into detail about these, the communications and outreach and recruiting activities. But here are all the required tasks and the voluntary ones. And this is a little form that we would like you guys to fill out so that we can use your photos once you drop those in about your off-campus experience. And so also here we have ongoing projects. So these are the different projects that we'll be reaching out to you about throughout the semester, and these are all voluntary.
Yes, and then I would say Jen, who works a lot on our website, wanted to make sure that we highlighted the photo and document upload for things like that bio, where we'll send you guys a prompt asking, about your favorite memory from when you were studying abroad and something you really liked about the place that you live. All of those can be submitted really easily through this Google site just by adding a file or submitting something. That we're really trying to make it so that you don't have to worry about emailing things in, that it will be sort of a one-stop shop for you all.
Exactly. And I know some of you have already sent me your photos. For those of you who haven't, you can actually just upload them right here instead of emailing those. And same thing for the bios. So you can upload those right here. And once again, if you're not sure what you have to write, that's all going to be here in communications activities. Or if it's an outreach and recruiting activity, that would be right here.
Yes.
We'll be going into those in detail.
Exactly. Do not have to remember it just from us scrolling past it right now. One thing that there are a couple students who are returning ambassadors who maybe went off campus a year ago and are still on campus and so still advocating for their programs. We're trying really hard to be flexible in this position. So you guys can customize, like there are some possible assignments where you're going through and doing sort of a photo essay and giving captions for some of the photos that you had. But if you are, better at writing, or like I have no visual imagination to speak of, so I would really do like a travel writing piece or mentoring students. And so we're trying to make it so that this is one, totally on your own schedule, and two, but still giving a little bit more of a framework than we've had in the past, because I know we had students who, I certainly had this when I returned from my off-campus study experience. I was so excited and I didn't quite know how to connect with that or where to really take that. And so we got a lot of feedback from students in previous years that went into this. And so we're hoping that it is useful for you all. And then if there are things that you would like us to add more of or to change in some way, we are really open to that. And we are excited. The last thing that we will highlight before we go back to the presentation are the timesheets. So we have an example timesheet. You will all be getting a link to your individual Google Sheet that just has the activities that are required are in bold, and then activities that are, you can come up with something and write that in and do it on your own time, and sort of the sky's the limit in terms of that stuff. But in terms of if you want to get hours, you can sort of click through those required activities. We have rough estimates of how long we think they'll take, but absolutely fill those out and feel free to explore that.
Yes. And then last thing on the Google site, once you do talk to any prospective students, we ask that you just go to the student follow-up form and write just a little bit of information about them so that we can reach out to them later. All right.
Yes. So the first sort of group of activities that we have you doing are things that I'm not sure if any of you looked on our website when you were like a first or second year student, but it used to be from 2003 was the last time we had updated it prior to this past year. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of stuff that we still want to be adding to make that more up to date and replace some of the testimonials and student experiences from the 1990s. And so you are going to be a huge help, hopefully, in doing that. So some of those activities we've already talked about, like the profile and uploading photos to the Google site. There are ways to share your stories to the website, whether that be through talking specifically about your independent study project or doing sort of a short interview about the experience of staying in a homestay. And some of those will come directly from our coworker, Jen, who will be reaching out to those of you who on your application indicated that those would be areas of strength and interest to you. So we're really trying to work with strengths, but then also give you guys the opportunity to build experience for your resume in areas that might be really attractive to employers. And a lot of those have to do with social media management, especially we're seeing as students graduate out, being able to coherently and succinctly tell the stories of your time abroad is a really nice skill to be able to take with you. And that's also one where in all three of these sort of activity camps, you are so free to customize it or to come up with something. There might be an activity that works really, really well for Emory and sort of the campus culture that you have that maybe wouldn't work as well at Grinnell, but there might be something else that you can do specifically at Grinnell. And so we really trust you guys to be the experts on your particular campus and to customize as you see fit.
Yes. And so with outreach and recruiting activities, we ask that you guys speak to 5 students per term. So that could either be in person, you could talk to someone who's on your campus. That could also be a phone call, email, social media. And that's kind of what Katie Rose was saying earlier, how you guys can connect with each other. And if there's, someone who's interested in the Tanzania program, but you didn't do that, maybe you can connect with another ambassador on another campus, and that can be a way to connect potential students to each other. We'll also be sending you information about webinars. So this fall, we want to do a few webinars that are kind of where you guys can talk about your experience and prospective students can kind of get more of the student experience about different topics. So we will be reaching out to you guys, and you can choose different topics that you'd be interested in talking about. We'll also be sending you brochures that we'd like you to give to the faculty advisors that are on your campus, and that's a good way to meet those faculty advisors if you haven't yet, and so we'll be reaching out to you about that. We also ask that you hang out with us when we visit your campus. So we'll be visiting most of your campuses this fall, and we'd love to hang out, whether that is coming to an off-campus study fair or tabling with us or just kind of talking with us about your experience.
Yeah, let us buy you coffee, learn from, what that reentry process is like, how things are going at your campus. You guys are often the first and best sources of knowledge that we have about how your campus is feeling on any given subject in any given year. So we're really excited to connect with you.
Yeah, and we ask that you speak to 3 different organizations, whether it's a club or a class, anything where you either have connections there or you're interested. Maybe you have a professor you're close with and you'd like to chat in that class, just to kind of get the word out and you can talk about your program. And then we'll also be sending posters. We ask you just put those on around campus and around your departments, etc. So yeah, kind of going along with that, a big part of your job is just getting connected on your campus and just getting the word out about your off-campus program and about the ACM's programs in general. So definitely the off-campus study office, talking with them, getting to know them, also the department and faculty relevant to your program's focus. So if you went on the Costa Rica program, make sure that you're connecting with the Spanish faculty and environmental studies faculty. And also there's just so many different organizations on campus that you can connect with, whether that's the Career Center or Residence Life, Greek Life. You can choose wherever you'd like to just kind of chat about your experience.
Yeah, and often we encourage students to go where you're already connected. So when I came back from doing the sort of social justice focus in the Chicago program, I was in a number of student activist organizations. And so it was a really easy and natural fit to talk about this experience I had that built on things I was passionate about with people who were also invested in those issues. So it's not, hopefully not reinventing the wheel for any of you, that you're, obviously we would encourage you to cast a wide net, but mixing all sorts of metaphors there, but you have some freedom, but you know what's best on your campus, so follow those instincts.
Mm-hmm.
And then the ongoing projects is, one, make sure that you record watching this webinar so that you get paid for the time that you spent doing this and hanging out with us, but we're really, we try to be flexible ourselves in the assignments that we're thinking. So I know one project that a few students helped out last year was overhauling our new student orientation. So I'm sure you all remember before you went on your off-campus study program, there were a couple of webinars and things that you had to sit through, and we got feedback from students that those were long and not always emphasizing the most important information that you had. So using student alumni feedback, we totally overhauled that orientation and made it more interactive. And so as we identify projects like that, we might tap certain ones of you as we get to know your skills and as we get to know what you might need more hours. If we're looking at your timesheet and be like, hey, we can maybe reach out to this student and see if they're interested.
And yeah, so as we'd said earlier, we want to hang out when we visit you. So we are on a territory model. That basically means that for the most part, I, Julie, because you can't see me right now, I work with the colleges in Minnesota and Wisconsin, and Katie Rose, for the most part, works with the schools in Iowa, Illinois, and Colorado.
Yes, and then for those of you who are outside of that smaller ACM constituency, we sort of work on an individual basis. So I know Julie works with Kalamazoo, and I'll probably be hanging out with Emory. Or hanging out at Emory, I should say. And so those are sort of things that obviously you are very free to email either one of us about anything. We sort of co-manage and co-lead this program, but in terms of who you might actually see on your campus would be probably split up by territory.
Yes.
And so again, you are absolutely free to reach out to us if you have a suggestion, if you're sort of like, I radically overcommitted myself this fall, and so will not be able to do XYZ assignments. Please don't fall off the map. That was definitely me when I was a student. I think it was also Julie, and so we're really sensitive to the fact that you guys have a whole bunch of stuff going on. We're really committed to working with you and making this job something that is flexible for your schedule.
Exactly. And just feel free to reach out with any questions, although as far as submitting things, that can be done on the Google site, but we'd love to connect when we're on campus, when we're off campus, etc. So feel free to reach out to us.
So I mentioned earlier things about building up your resume, and I think that is obviously something that you all, as serious-minded students who grew up during a recession, are very aware of, but we're also really committed to, if you want to learn more about international education. It's a field that we both have various amounts of experience and connection with, and so we think that that's one of the strengths of the ACM in terms of collaboration. Julie has a master's degree in this field and knows a bunch of folks in that. And so if those are career paths that you are all considering, we're also happy to have that be part of our connection with you all.
Yes.
And you will earn money. And oh my God, please keep your Google Sheets up to date, is mostly the point of this slide. We are happy to go shaking you down to make sure that you have recorded all your hours, but it is so much easier if we can just pay you for your time and for your labor. And so we'll just run through a little bit of that fine print. You will be paid twice. So once in December and once in May, June, depending. A couple of you are still like in classes going through June, and so we want to make sure that we are being sensitive to that. You will fill out a form sharing your direct deposit information, and we assess your pay based on how many hours you have in that timesheet. So we will say, get all of your hours up to date by December 15th, and if there is nothing in there on December 15th, you will have to wait until May. So it's really, really important that you keep those up to date. We work on the honor system. I'm not going to be calling a faculty member to see if you really did talk with them for 15 minutes in September like that. We trust you guys, and we know that you are passionate about these programs. We have a cap of 30 hours or $300 for the full academic year. For a lot of your schools, there is an internal campus deadline in the fall or early winter, and you all know that since you went through that process. And so that often means that your work in terms of some outreach activities might be front loaded in the first semester. But we've increasingly tried to build in direct mentoring and connections with students who have been accepted onto our programs in the late spring. So it is not like you have to get that full cap in by December 15 and there's not going to be anything for the rest of the year. So we just want to make you aware of what that balance might be. Mm-hmm. And again, our goal is not to be like strict task masters with all of this, and to make sure that we are being responsive.
Mm-hmm. So what can you do right now? Follow us on social media. So we have our Facebook here, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We'd love to connect with all of you. So right now, we just wanted to take a few minutes. I know we've shared a bunch of ideas about outreach and communications, but we'd love to hear a little bit from all of you. So I'm just going to unmute you and see if any of you have any ideas for maybe ways that you could connect with students on your campus.
And we are all
I have a
question. The free for all. Unless you are self-muted, in which case we must expect your background to be crazy.
I mean, I don't know how important it is. I'll probably share one.
I have a quick question.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, so just in my program, specifically in talking with like the people who run it, they've seen a pretty significant decrease in enrollment in my year versus like previous years. So I was wondering, like, what do you believe to be like the cause of that? And then like as an ambassador, how can, I guess this is like the general question, but how can we like prevent that in like future years, I guess?
I mean, that's definitely the heart of the matter. And part of it is just trends that are happening in higher education. A lot of the campuses that we work with are tuition dependent, which means that they only can allow a certain number of students to go off campus. And so in the last couple of years, we have seen, if you're coming particularly from the London and Florence program, a couple of policies that previously students were allowed to take all of their aid off campus, and there were no campus limits on the number of students who could go off campus, and those have changed. And those were programs that those were schools that might have heavily sent to one or two different programs. And so those programs are really seeing that gap. So a couple of strategies that we talk about here, there are a couple of proposals going on to try to, on like a higher level than where Julie and I work, address that sort of policy change issue. And we will let you guys know as soon as there is anything that might impact your outreach to students on that front. Primarily, we try to think outside the box in terms of what students might be interested in our programs, or really try to work closely with your off-campus study directors to follow up with interested students, to make sure that I personally know so many students who are interested, but if the process is confusing and you're not quite sure up front how much of your financial aid is going to go with you, that makes it really intimidating and hard to sort of sell to your parents. So one project we did last year was actually having students interview their own parents about what that decision was like and what that experience was like. However, all of these things are sort of smaller piecemeal solutions to the general problem that like higher education is very expensive and only getting more so. And so that's not a problem that we like expect you guys to fix.
Exactly.
So that would be crazy.
Yeah. So basically, the best thing that you can do is just talk about your experience, because really that's what prospective students want to hear about. And if they do have questions that are more financial, that's when you direct them to the financial aid, or they have a question about their specific department and you're not sure how to answer that, they can talk to their academic advisor. Or if there's anything that you feel like you can't answer, you can also always direct them to Katie Rose and I, and we're happy to talk with them. So yeah, basically just chatting about your experience is really what we would expect from you guys.
And sort of putting that personal face on, like, you made a decision that depending on the school that you're at, depending on like everyone's financial aid package is a special snowflake, like that decision is different for everyone. And then just being honest with what that was like. And we have a section about this on the Google site because we know that it's something that students ask about all the time. One other assignment, aside from talking with students, is that we'll probably send you all a short list of faculty or staff on your campus who may have been involved and advocates for ACM off-campus study programs 10 years ago and haven't really done much since. And so we're really trying to tap into all those folks again, because if, out of a list of 10, if 3 of them end up advocating and sending students, that can be a game changer in terms of enrollment. And so we're really trying to make sure we are leaving no stone unturned, but it was a really honest and insightful question. So
thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Sure.
So you said that one of the things we can do is make social media posts. Would that be on our own personal pages, or do we have access to the ACM social media accounts?
I would say once you follow us and on social media, for example, you could share what we've already posted on the ACM site or repost something on Instagram on your page if you're comfortable with doing that.
Yeah. And I know for the smaller cohort of students who had indicated wanting to get experience with social media, Jen, who works a lot with our website, has been talking about orchestrating sort of Instagram takeovers or Facebook takeovers so that you can, for that or whatever, you would be populating that channel and having a chance to do sort of a spotlight on your program or your campus and your relationship with off-campus study. So that's something, if you are interested in it, drop us a quick line and we can absolutely make that happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks. Anybody else have questions, ideas?
A quick note that all of these photos were taken by students, but a lot of them were taken in the late 90s to early 2000s. And so they were part of the accepted students mailing that you probably all received. But we really want to make sure that we are getting more recent photos from you guys. That was a big element, but also trying to be creative with how we use them. So if you have an idea for even that accepted students mailing, that can be filed in one of those ongoing projects or things like that.
All right, so here we have a list of all of the programs. One of our new programs is Amsterdam, so that the first time we will have students out there is this fall, which we're very excited about. And of course, we don't expect you all to be experts on every single program. Of course, you're going to be an expert on your own program. That's one thing that's on the Google site also, if you're looking in how to talk to students, and it kind of gives a little overview of, you know, if a student is interested in anthropology or sociology, they might be interested in this program versus Spanish or biology. So that's something you can also look into, and if you're kind of looking into other programs, you can also get paid to do that.
So again, trying to be mindful of your time and get you in. It's going to be a couple minutes over our half-hour self-imposed time limit. We will leave it up and running if any of you do have questions and want to stick around. But overall, thank you so much for hanging out. We appreciate it. We are so looking forward to working with you all this year. We think that this program, especially after some of the sort of organizational changes that we worked on over the summer, is going to be really fruitful and really exciting for this fall. So in a day or two, we will be sending out an email with the links to the Google Drive and to this recording, just in case the spirit so moves you to watch it again, along with your individual timesheet. So hang out. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much, everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Hang on. Who had a question? Eula, hang on. We are trying desperately to unmute you. Oh, hang on. I think we can hear somebody.
Or you could type it
into the chat. But we are, trying very hard here with a somewhat unfamiliar technology to make sure that we are asking. Sorry, Carly, I think you're self-muted if you got a question. So we are trying to unmute you, but it is not quite working.
Send unmute.
There we go.
Okay. Hello.
There we go. So I had a specific question about St. Olaf.
Sure.
Because I know that St. Olaf is huge as far as getting students out and studying abroad. And I wanted to know if, I guess, kind of just general experiences you have with trying to get students at St. Olaf to specifically go towards ACM.
Yeah.
And how I might be able to appeal to
because we have students just always going out, and so how I can kind of get those people to look at ACM specifically.
Absolutely. So excellent question. So when I did the Chicago program, my roommate and best friend on the program, who I've stayed very close with, was an Oli, and so she told me a lot about campus. It has definitely been held up every time I go back, and talking specifically a lot about you all have those like American conversation or Great Con, and sort of the emphasis on the liberal arts is something that I think the ACM programs are so deeply steeped in, that interdisciplinary, self-governing, getting the chance to pursue your own learning in context that is deeply a part of that liberal arts philosophy at St. Olaf. And so I think sort of connecting that in a this is a further and sort of seamless part of your academic career can be really persuasive, and that a lot of the programs, so many of the programs have community engagement and very place-based, respectful of our directors and practitioners who live there year-round relationships. And I know that that's something that St. Olaf really tries to emphasize in terms of service. And so sort of that combo can be really nice. I'm talking over Julie a little bit here because I've been with the ACM for a couple of years, and she started more recently, but she has been to St. Olaf. And so if there was anything that you wanted to add.
Yeah, so we went to St. Olaf in February, and I know we kind of sat around outside the cafeteria, and we basically set up a bunch of brochures and just kind of were there while students walked by and just kind of chatted with them if they were just kind of looking around, looking at brochures. And I would say kind of going in areas where there is a lot of student traffic is a good way to just kind of get their attention, and then talking about your experience is going to be,
Yeah. And that the faculty at St. Olaf, there are some schools where faculty are now pretty removed from the decisions students make in terms of whether or not to study abroad, let alone where to study abroad. And I think St. Olaf, they're still pretty connected. And so those lists of faculty and staff, we're trying to really go and talk with people who might know vaguely about the ACM because they attended a faculty summit one time, but haven't really learned about the off-campus study offerings. And those people will be relying on you to be like, nobody listens to this faculty member, versus this is a person who it's David Booth and is beloved by all of the Intro to Religious Thought students. And so stuff like my roommate on the Chicago program had a poster of David Booth that lived in our room. I'm very familiar with his craggy face. And so things like that local knowledge that you have, that we can definitely supplement, but we're trying to sort of go to new places. One thing that I know Eula was talking about, helping international students feel prepared to go off campus. That is an area where we're really, we would love more outreach, both on our parts, the parts of the directors, and for you all to be talking to international students or students who are traditionally underrepresented in study abroad. It's a passion, a personal passion of ours. It's an organizational drive, and it's something that it might also help for people who have never considered themselves as the type of person who would go abroad, to see that that's possible, particularly specifically in an institution like St. Olaf, where their financial aid goes with them. If they're a student who is high need, that makes it possible in a way that some institutions can't.
Yeah, I've got a few ideas that I'll be cooking up with in the next few months, so I'm excited.
Yes, and then I think you are going to be at St. Olaf.
Julie, I will be at St. Olaf for the open house. I believe that's on November 1st, but I will definitely email you and reach out to you, because it would be great to meet you and hang out and get some coffee and chat with some students. So I'll definitely be reaching out to you about that.
Sounds great.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
For sure. Anybody else who's hanging out have a question, concern, comment, query?
I have another question.
Yeah,
Sure.
Do you guys have the link to the website that you were scrolling through at the beginning?
Yes, we will be sending that out in an email to all of you, so you will have that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's all.
Great.
All right.
Any other questions before we sign off?
All right.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody.
We appreciate it. We really look forward to working with you this fall.
All right. Bye-bye.